On the Greca of ESPN New York with Armen and Levack on 104.5, the team, your home for New York sports. Don, how we doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing well. You enjoy your spot over on Radio Row?
I love Radio Row. I mean, it's sometimes it's tough to be away for a whole week, but this is a chance to get to see people you haven't seen since the last Super Bowl. And I feel like I've been begrudged of this because when we was in New York last year, we weren't on Radio Row. They had us in Bryant Park. So really it's been the first time since New Orleans that I've had a chance to see some people that I've worked with, people around the country. So this is always a fun time.
What we were just speaking about the Yankees real quick. We talked to Kay about it. What's your outlook for this year for the Yankees?
You know, really all depends on whether everybody stays healthy. I mean, if Tanaka ends up going down and need Tommy John surgery, they're in a huge amount of trouble. I think it's going to be a team that's going to be a lot like what we've seen in the last couple of years. They're going to probably be somewhere in the mid to high 80s in wins and probably be on the outside looking in. Now, if a couple of things break their way and nobody gets hurt and you have a couple of surprise seasons, I guess they'll be right in the mix of things. So I don't think they're going to be the worst team in the league. I know Michael has said they can finish first, they can finish last. I think Tampa's going to finish last. So I don't think they're going to be that bad. I think they'll finish above 500, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's the exact same carbon copy type of season we've seen over the last couple of years, just short of making the playoffs.
I'm pulling my hair out already. On
Why
that.
are you pulling your hair out?
Because
he's pinstripe pants. Don, he's nutty Yankee guy.
They haven't won since 2009. Oh, my God.
He's freaking out.
How do you live with yourself?
Yeah.
Well, I
finish above 500 every single year, relevant every single year.
Right, but last year,
fan. If I had pulled my hair out, brain would be coming out of my scalp at this point.
But every other year, I feel like I know what's going to happen. Last year, for the whole second half of the season, like, oh, they could be a playoff. No, not a playoff. No, give up. No, give up.
But that's what everybody in the world goes through.
I'm not used to that. I'm not used to that in baseball.
I'm sorry, but that's the way sports are supposed to be. Maybe my team will make it. Maybe they won't. All right, for a long time, you knew they were going to go to the playoffs, and you were pretty sure that they were going to win a championship.
Right.
But the rest of the world had to live with maybe my team's going to stink. Maybe my team is going to be good. Welcome to the rest of the world. Welcome to a world where you don't have trust in your closer. Welcome to the world where the playoffs are guaranteed.
I don't know if I like this world. It's a world where my 11-year-old daughter has only seen one championship.
Oh, only one?
Yeah, Don.
What would happen if she was born in Chicago and you were a Cub fan? What would happen then?
Listen, I don't even want to think about that dark path.
Hey, I'm from Texas. I grew up watching the Rangers. In the 80s and 90s, they had some of the worst teams baseball's ever seen. So, and the Mavericks in that time period.
You know what was funny? We were having this conversation when the Rangers got good and they went to the World Series in 2010 and 2011. They were never the worst franchise, but I don't want to say irrelevant, but like there was nothing going on for so long with that team.
They were relevant.
They didn't have a tremendous amount of superstars. You know, you had a handful of guys. And you know what? I'm a little bitter when it comes to the Texas Rangers.
Oh, boy.
Because I invested in baseball cards when I was younger.
Okay.
And somebody whispered in my ear and say, listen, Oddibe McDowell is going to be a really good player. So stock up on his rookie card. So I spent like $10 on like 20 or 30 of his rookie cards.
Right.
They're worth about the same now as they were at the time. Not good.
Even with inflation.
Sierra, a little bit of a different situation.
A little bit better.
Oddibe didn't really pay off for me at all.
Don Greca of ESPN New York, Michael Kay Show with Armen and Levack on 104.5 The Team. The New York Rangers, you're part of the radio broadcast there. Is this team going to get back to the Stanley Cup Finals? How are they looking?
I guess they've got as good a chance as anybody in the Eastern Conference, but here's the scary thing. Islanders are so much better than they were last year. Boston now, when you see them healthy, they're as good as they've been in the last couple of years. And the other scary thing is Rangers can't beat Boston. They can't beat Tampa. They can't beat the Islanders. These are the teams. They've lost 2 out of 3 to Montreal. These are the teams they're probably going to have to get through to get there. Now, they've been there. They went to the final last year, so you can't count them out. But, boy, I think the road's going to be a lot tougher to navigate than it was last year. Because, remember, last year you took on a Pittsburgh team that's got something going on in the playoffs. I don't know what it is, but there's an Achilles heel there. And, Sidney Crosby disappears in the postseason, and Marc-Andre Fleury outside of that Stanley Cup and conference Stanley Cup final run that you had those back-to-back years hasn't been great in the postseason. And then you took on a Montreal team that lost their starting goaltender in Game 1. So I think they can get there, but I think the path is going to be a lot tougher to climb this year than it was last year.
How do you see the Super Bowl playing out?
I just think New England's the better team. I really do. I think we get a little too caught up in what Seattle did last year. Seattle's team last year was special. I don't see this team being special. Now, they're very good, but you look at them in the playoffs and you look at them at times during the regular season, they're not the same team. And they went in with a bravado last year, if you remember, because I think their Super Bowl was against San Francisco in the NFC Championship game last year. You look at this team in the playoffs, they should have lost to Green Bay. They almost lost to a one-legged quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. And then you go the week before, Carolina hung around way too much. I think this New England team is very good. Put the Deflategate and all that garbage aside. I think New England right now is a better football team. So that's probably where I'm going to lean on going. I think it's going to be a great game. I can't see a blowout. And if it's a blowout, I can't see it being New England that gets blown out. So I'm going to look for New England, with it being a point spread, the win and covering the number.
Don Greca of ESPN New York, Michael K. Show. Roger Goodell spoke today and said that the extra points are becoming predictable. They're going to do something with the extra points. It was the second thing that he got to other than concussions. The extra points being predictable, is that a problem in the NFL, Don?
So Ray Rice, Adrian Peterson, Deflategate, that's number 2 on the list of things that he's concerned about. I think something should be tweaked. But why would you have an automatic? I mean, it's 96.7% of extra points are good. Isn't the sport supposed to revolve around the difficulty of doing something? So if something is that guaranteed, then why not make it a longer field goal? Or why not just make a touchdown 7 points, but you forfeit the extra point if you decide to go for 2? Why have something in the game that automatic? If free throws in the NBA were at 97%, wouldn't you want to try to make them harder to do? So I'm all for changing it. Why it's such a priority, I'm not sure with all the things that are going on. But I would definitely tweak it. I would change it.
And I guess that's my thing, is more the priority. I don't know what a catch looks like. Referees don't know what a penalty looks like anymore. Those, to me, is a big issue. We have things that need to be fixed versus something that we want to fix.
I agree with you. I mean, I knew that Des Bryant completion was going to be incomplete because I've seen that before.
Right.
But to me, that's a catch. I mean, what do you got to do? You got to put it into a box and mail it in order to be incompletion?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that need. But, here's the thing. The NFL has gotten to be such a monster that everybody's got an opinion on everything. But you got to get your ducks in a row. If there's anything that's going to bring this sport down, it's not going to be the game itself, because the game is amazing and people love it so much. What's going to bring it down is not having domestic policy, a policy for domestic violence. What's going to bring this sport down is the impropriety of rules being broken and not enough discipline. These are the things that are going to bring this sport down. And that's what has to be focused on, because you know what? The game, I don't think, is broken, but the system, I think, around the game is. And to have, I'm not saying Roger Goodell should be fired, but have Roger Goodell be put in charge to correct problems that were broken under his watch, to me, doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't get to break the toy and then be the one that gets to make sure the toys aren't broken again. No, I get taken out of the process and somebody else goes in. He can keep his commissionership, but the guy that ends up ultimately disciplining these players has to be somebody else.
Love it. Don Greca, 98.7 ESPN New York. Also hear him on the New York Rangers radio broadcast. Don, thanks for coming over to say hi. Tell him about our movement.
Oh, we're bringing back the high five. Revive the five. Can I get a high five from you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
I love the idea. The fist bump is weak.
It's
chest bumping is
played
just
out.
Too familiar.
And in like a lot of the fist bump now, if you don't follow it with fireworks or a salute or something or a handstand, they don't
love it.
count it.
Old
Great.
school.
Love it.
Don, we love
This
you,
is
man.
fun,
Thanks for always joining us.